Kyle Alfonso Merrickx, aka Stalley, born October 30th, 1982. Researching today's feature, it was quickly understood that everyone can't be that guy. It's no knock to the ones that aren't, because many fall into that category in life, period. Even Stalley's own label, Blue Collared Gang, embodies that sentiment. Everyone isn't a star or rich and famous or even desire to be. Some are just who they are and enjoy that space in life. In basketball terms, everyone can't be Scottie or Mike or even Dennis Rodman. You have to have your Ron Harpers, your Steve Kerrs, your Luke Longleys, and Tony Kukocs to make a machine work well enough that it wins in the end. In music, Stalley is one of those guys. You understand he's talented, and for some, he may even be their favorite player, or rapper in this case, but to expect him to one day become a generational scorer, or trailblazing point forward, or one-of-a-kind rebounder with iconic personality is just lying to yourself. As an artist, I like Stalley because he never professed to be this overconfident rapper that has all the women, all the money, all the power. He just rapped about the things he knew and understood from his perspective. For example, he has a song called Lincoln Way Nights that's all about getting rich off a dice game, and not too many can relate to that on the surface, which may have affected his sales as an artist. Underneath, what he really means is that you have to take chances in life. If you're going to gamble on a possible, why not do it now? Even when you peel it back though, it doesn't sound like the most appealing message to preach to an age group that's all about the party, the after party, and the wake and bake the morning after. In the early 2010s, that's what the playing field looked like as far as the target demographic that would support Stalley's music. While Meek Mill, Wale, Drake, Big Sean, Cudi, Kendrick, and the rest of his peers were making hit records and fighting for a throne left vacant by the 2000s MCs, Stalley played the background into being semi-known through affiliation, expectations too high because of it, and failing to meet those more than 10 years later. He was seen as Maybach music's most close to the core of what you remember hip-hop to be when it came to smooth MCs with advanced and clever flows over beats made to ride to, and in the beginning there was some intrigue to that when you looked at his former collective and label MMG, but as time has shown, fans didn't want that outside of what they already have in older artists that arguably did the smooth hood MC with bar style way better. I'm not quite sure what Stalley's ceiling was expected to be, but for these reasons, it wasn't met. Why not? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music. I should get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Stalley is a rapper and songwriter from Massillon, Ohio that grew up the typical American youth into sports and a fan of music. Specifically rap music from the East Coast because of the lyricism and masterpieces those artists created with words and concepts. As he says, his first love though was basketball, which he played all the way to university level in Michigan, then Long Island University. But injury set those dreams aside and made him pick up his pen full time. He released a mixtape locally and the reception was encouraging, giving him the confidence he could do something with rap. He immersed himself in the New York rap circuit while in Long Island, and it led to opening for Mos Def and linking with Dame Dash, who opened the doors for Stalley to record at quality studios and connections your typical rapper wouldn't receive without major cosign. Around 2010-11, he signed with Rick Ross's Maybach Music Group and Atlantic Records, releasing his Lincoln Way Nights mixtape to much fanfare. Stalley was on, but the path still had much road to travel. Stunt number 1, playing the background. I don't know if it was natural because of his personality or the music or maybe a combination of both, but when Stalley got to Maybach Music, he immediately fell in line behind Rick Ross, of course, who was a rap superstar at the time, Meek Mill, the young, hungry prodigy with the most rap potential and traditional rap skill, and Wale, who I think overall was the best, quote, artist in a creative sense on the label from top to bottom, Ross included. They all played in the same gym as far as all being rappers, but those three guys were obvious stars who were marketable in their own way to become popular. So when they do things like radio promotion appearances, Meek Mill would always dominate the environment pretty much to himself. Ross would sit on the side playing the I'm a boss role and I don't need to rap, and Wale would rap at times, but also didn't need to rap in that environment as no one expected him to be a tear the radio station down rapper. It also would have come off as trying to compete with Meek, who embodies that atmosphere, so Wale fell back as well and let it play out how it should. Staley was always literally in the background, as his rap style too isn't that of all-out competition in the cages of radio stations. He's more of a one-on-one artist you bring up, get to know him and his music a bit, and maybe he'll bless you with some bars at the end. Not that he couldn't compete, but it's not always the place and time. Again, how would Ron Harper look demanding the ball from MJ or Pip with 10 seconds to go? Playing this background helped put Stalley in a box of not having that star power in the fans' eyes, who won't break things down like I just did. They like what they see and hear, and when the lights were on and they all got together, Stalley wasn't seen or heard from much, which hurt his popularity. He'd release dope songs like Lincoln Way Nights, Sound of Silence, and more, but physically and musically, he was too far behind the stars in placement and personality that he became overlooked and then forgotten. Stunt number 2, a lack of promotion. As a byproduct of his personality, his laid-back music, others around him more suited for the bright lights, and playing the background, Staley received little promotion from Atlantic and Maybach Music. In interviews, he'd show his appreciation by not blaming Rick Ross directly, but Maybach Music, along with Atlantic, could have done more when it came to promoting Staley. I don't know if labels know this, but it's evident to fans as soon as you hit play on their music videos. You can tell there's a different level from what Meek and Wale got under MMG. Staley's videos look like someone's regular Canon T3i, or dare I say iPhone and high-level editing software. Even though for a while that's all cool, but visually the promo in that way could have been better. Then when he did get the chance to release his debut album in 2014, after 3 years of waiting behind Meek and Wale, even he recognized, other than a few tweets and posts on Instagram, MMG and Atlantic weren't doing much to make sure his numbers reflect the body of work. Ohio was a solid album that had Rick Ross on there, Nipsey Hussle, even De La Soul, and radio records that could have churned some attention, featuring Ty Dolla $ign and August Alsina, who were both hot at the time. But the album pretty much came and went with no rollout or hoopla attached to it and was easily overlooked. Staley says as much when interviewed by Billboard and asked about the lack of promotion on a major label. Ohio sold 10,000 copies first week, a far cry from what Wale or Meek were doing, or what it could have if promoted right, becoming his first and last major label album. This would be a huge reason he decided to leave Atlantic and MMG. Stunt number 3, It. Whatever it is, some just don't have it when it comes to certain things. You can have an it personality, but not it bars or melodies or songwriting capabilities or cadence, whatever. Take an artist like Rollo. He has personality, street certification, fan love, money, cosigns, but as a rapper, he can't make a hit song to save his life because as a rapper, he doesn't have it. Same with Bobby Shmurda, at least after going to prison, because Hot was and still is that one. But I've never seen such hype for a rapper's release from prison like for Bobby. Him coming home was the promotion every rapper wants, and what does he do after he comes home? Flop after flop after flop, until no one wanted to hear it anymore because post-prison the music wasn't it. Staley has cool music if you're from where he's from, shoot dice like he does, ride old school cars and know all the parts to one like he's into, but how relatable is that really? How many people will want to support music they have no connection to? His music is too direct to one market, and that market is filled with consumers who don't consume through purchase. Sure, if it's on, they'll listen to it, but it's not moving the hood to go out and buy it. As an artist whose business is selling music, that's a problem for a label and for Staley. It's one of the differences between he and J. Cole. Cole makes more relatable music to anyone. You can't hear Friday Night Lights and not find a song you relate to. Nothing wrong with not being popular, but as an entertainer, it's kind of a requirement. All in all, Staley had opportunity. Let's get that understood. Many rappers would have killed to be on MMG in the early 2010s. He made some small waves with it, but in the end, the music missed the mark for these reasons. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.